A very good morning, dear children. Welcome to YouTube channel Academia Ambala. Today, I, Mrs. Madhu Singh, is going to explain poem from Flamingo. The name of the poem is An Elementary School Classroom in a Slum. The poem is by Stephen Spender, who was not just an English poet but an essayist and also a novelist. He was given the title of Poet Laureate Consultant in Poetry to the United States Library of Congress in 1965. Children, most of his poetry concentrates on themes of social injustice and class inequality in his works. The poem and the explanation. All that is underlined in the poem is the text, and under that I have given the explanation. Far, far from gusty waves these children's faces, like rootless weeds, the hair torn around their pallor. Far away from the world of energy and robustness are the pale and lifeless faces of these slum children. These children are like weed, unwanted grass. They are malnourished and deprived. Their unkempt hair frame around their pale face and appear to be torn or appear to be in shreds. As you can see these four pictures, hungry slum children, and to extreme left you can see hair torn when we use that expression, and you can see the eyes of the boy to your right hand side, the boy on top. They are actually hungry eyes. Now the poet describes the children, those who are seated in the class. He says, the tall girl with her weighed down head, the paper seeming boy with rat's eyes, the stunted, unlucky heir of twisted bones, reciting a father's gnarled disease, his lesson from his desk. The poet describes the children. He says, there is a tall girl whose head is always bent down due to poverty, or maybe the responsibilities that she shoulders. Then there is a boy who is as thin and white as paper. He's malnourished, and he's like a rat, always hungry, seeking food. Along with these two, there is an unlucky boy who has inherited his father's disease of twisted bones. He cannot get up from his place, so he's always sitting at his desk. And rather than reciting the lesson, he seems to recite the disease that he has inherited from his father. The text, at the back of the dim class, one unnoted, sweet and young. His eyes live in a dream of squirrel's game in tree room other than this. Amidst all these lifeless pale children is a sweet boy who is unnoticed as he sits at the end of the class. But how is he different? He's different because he has dreams in his eyes. He's hopeful. He wishes to go out in the open amidst green surroundings and play like a squirrel, running up and down on the tree. He wants to escape the suffocating, depressive surroundings of his slum classroom, and he wants to taste freedom. Thereafter, the poet describes the classroom. On sour cream walls, donations. Shakespeare's head, cloudless at dawn. The walls of the classroom are painted of dirty yellow color, thus making it look very depressive. And on the walls, like we decorate our classroom with beautiful charts, there are hangings which have been donated by all those visitors who had come to this classroom. Among the donations which are hanging on the walls, there is a picture of Shakespeare, his head bald like rising sun. Now children, Shakespeare is associated with learning and knowledge. What relevance does his picture have with these slum children? Then, civilized dome riding all cities, belt flowery Tyrolese valley, open-handed map awarding the world its world. So apart from the picture of Shakespeare, there is a picture of civilized dome riding all cities, means dome-like structure of those places, indicating that either that is a church or an educational institution. Then there is picture of most scenic and beautiful Tyrolese Valley in Austria, which is famous for its churches and flowers. Apart from these two, there is also a map which perhaps has been made by rich, powerful people, because the map shows different places of the world which belong to those rich and powerful people and not these slum children. So here are the pictures of dome-like structure in Europe. As you can see, they signify power. And this is beautiful Tyrolese Valley. Beautiful sky, flowers and churches. Another picture of dome-like structure in Europe. And this is of course the map about which the children have no idea at all. And yet, for these children, these windows, not this map, their world, were all their futures painted with the fog, a narrow street sealed in with a lead sky, far, far from rivers, capes, and stars of words. But for these slum children, the window of the classroom that opens into the narrow lane of the slum is the real map. Because their future in this slum is unclear, it is dull, they have limited options in life. So when they look outside that window, what they see is a narrow street of the slum, covered with dark, dull grey colored sky rather than the blue sky. So all this description suggests that they have nothing hopeful in their life. Their world of poverty and deprivation is far away from the world of open seas and the world of education and those hangings which are in their classroom. Now this is a picture of a slum, as you can very well see, sealed, grey color, nothing bright in their life. So surely Shakespeare is wicked. The map a bad example, with ships and sun and love tempting them to steal. So, for the some children, what relevance does Shakespeare have? Nothing. To them, Shakespeare is a bad person because he has no meaning for them. They have never ever heard of him. The map is a bad example because it shows them places with ships, sun, and love. Because they show them a world beyond their imagination, and when they imagine, this imagination arouses desires in them. They want to fulfill their desire. So what do? They take to stealing and they become thieves for lives that slyly turn into their cramped holes from fog to endless night. On their slag heap, these children wear skins, peeped through by bones and spectacles of steel with mended glass, like bottle bits on stone. The lives of these poor people are limited to their tiny one-room house in which the entire family lives. Their home is like a hole in which all of them are stuffed right from early morning, which is a dull morning, to a night which never comes to an end. There is no hope for them. Their body is like material waste, discarded, and so thin that it appears they are wearing skin instead of clothes, signifying malnutrition. Their bones can be seen, and like broken pieces of glass bottle, they have a broken future. They wear spectacles of steel which are perhaps thrown away by someone as they cannot afford to buy them. Like a bottle thrown on a stone breaks into 1,000 pieces, similarly these children's fragile future is broken by lack of facilities and poverties. All of their time and space are foggy slums, so blot their maps with slums as big as doom. All the time of these children is spent in this dirty slum, which is like a living hell. They have nothing to look forward to. So, what do the influential people do? They feel that these slums are like a blot on civilized society. So, rather than offering them opportunities, they build bigger slums in front of them so that these people can never come out of their life of poverty and deprivation. These slums are like living hell out of which they are unable to come out. They are like doom. This is a picture of a slum, and surely this fits the bill rightly when we call it doom. Unless governor, inspector, visitor, this map becomes their window, and these windows that shut upon their lives like catacombs break open till they break the town. But all this can change. If the people in power, in government, in influential positions see through the window of poverty and try to bridge the gap by making the world of these children their own. The gates of progress have been shut to these children like underground graves in which they are forever buried. So these obstacles should be broken down till all the children are out of poverty and slums and they can go to school, educate themselves like these children in the picture, and show the children to green fields and make their world run azure on gold sands and let their tongues run naked into books and white and green leaves. Open history, theirs whose language is the sun. Children should be taken out of slums. They should be shown green fields. They should be shown blue sky, golden sand, and be allowed to study and express themselves freely. They should be provided with opportunities. They should be taken to clean and green environment. History is made by those people who have the capability to change and think, speak and feel freedom. As he rightly says, history theirs whose language is the sun. So only those people who have the capability of reaching the sun, they can bring about difference in the society. Now this is the blue sky and the golden flowers and clean and green environment that we talked about should be shown to the slum children. Now students, there are a lot of literary devices. There is imagery. Throughout the poem, the imageries of despair and disease, poverty and deprivation, except for the last paragraph. There is simile, like rootless weeds, like bottle bits on stone, like catacombs, slum as big as doom. A lot of metaphors. Rat's eyes, father's gnarled disease, squirrel's game, lead sky, future painted with fog, spectacles of steel, gusty waves, stars of wood, skin peeped through by bones, let their tongues run naked, whose language is the sun. And then there is pun, sour cream, reciting his father's gnarled disease, lead sky, and of course there is repetition, break, far, far. So, I thank you for watching the video and trying to understand the text. See you soon. A lot of